Welcome to a special edition of Freemason School. In this one I'm going to cover internet harassment, which all of you have suffered, all of us have suffered it, and also the use of reverse psychology to perpetuate myths. So let's just start first of all with this reverse psychology. It's all linked together with Freemasonry, with Satanism. Now, if you take, for instance, people who've come onto the internet and they've talked about UFOs and things like this, that very shortly afterwards they've met with unfortunate circumstances. For instance, they've been murdered or they've had very strange accidents. And everyone says, well, you know, there's definitely something about this alien thing, because otherwise these people wouldn't be harassed, they wouldn't be attacked, they wouldn't be murdered. I mean, I've had loads of harassment and even one attempt to harm me whilst I fell for that myth about these aliens. It's simply not true, because the Bible says that they will come from under the earth and under the sea. So it's important not to go astray on that and just stay to the point, because otherwise you're helping to perpetrate this myth. Because if you're talking about UFOs and so on, and people are attacking you and harassing you, the first thing that's going to happen is you go into Sherlock Holmes mode, and you'll put 2 and 2 together, and you'll come up with 5, and you'll think, well, yeah, they're harassing me because I'm onto something. Not necessarily so. You're dealing with snakes here. They're very, very crafty. Now, just so that you understand how to pick these people out on the internet, and I'm sure that some silly people will take up these signs anyway, that I'm going to show you next, just to make you think that they're part of it, but just block them. Just so that you know who it is you're dealing with, look back in your past, in your mind, okay, at some of the names that people have used on the internet to harass you with. Now, let's just look at this. Now, remember that most of this Masonic stuff is actually done using the Greek alphabet. Now, this sign here, which I've seen Alex Jones using, and if you type into the internet satanic hand signals, this will come up and you'll find world leaders and all sorts doing this hand sign. People have said ridiculous things like it stands for the Texas Longhorns. Well, I'm sure the Texas Longhorns were around in the days of Babylon. But actually what this is, and I'm covering this in Freemason School Part 8, it is in fact snake fangs. The whole thing is based on that theme of serpent people and the worship of serpents. So it is in fact serpents' fangs injecting poison into every single situation. And as I say, that will be covered in full in Freemason School Part 8 if you want to turn to see that. Now, if I just get rid of this here, and just have a look at these internet stalkers and what they do. And remember, they base everything on the Greek alphabet. Okay, so you may have seen some people who come along and harassed your channel, and they called themselves idiot, XXX. Okay, now that X in the Greek language is it's called a chi in the English language, but that's not the way you pronounce it. It's a he. It's a snake noise. So this says idiot. Right? So they told you outright what they are, that they are a Mason or they are a tear. They're in the know as to this language. Next, you might have seen things like this, where you've got like a lowercase O. And then you've got an uppercase O, and then you might have a 0, yeah, and let's just say this one's called imbecile. Okay, so imbecile, and then again the O's. Now that there is just really a parody, both of them are really, of Amiga. So what they're doing is they're kind of making an Amiga there, and you'll find that the Amiga is used as a satanic symbol, such as here with the alpha he omega, just here, alpha he omega, which is used to depict the pyramid, the swirling thrust, and the UFO. Because remember, God said, I'm the alpha and the omega, and Satan wants to be the alpha and omega, but he will never be the alpha and omega. So If you've had any of names like this coming to your channel and calling you names, etc., you know that they are Masons. Also, once again, back to this snake symbolism. You'll also see things such as vampire pictures that they'll put on their channels, or other creatures with long teeth, such as a cobra. But it could be another animal, you know, that they'll use, and it will have two great big fangs there, and it'll look something like that. Okay, once again, that's a depiction of that hand sign, the fang hand sign. Next, you'll find that they also call you some very strange names, which appear to have been made up. So one of the names that you'll be called will be this. You'll be called Xytians. But try and remember they use the Greek alphabet, and that is not an X, it's a chi pronounced he. So they're calling you Xytians. They're hissing at you. They'll also use things like swirls like this, and they'll make pictures out of these swirls. And you know, it might, you think, oh, it's just a load of swirls and it's a nice pattern like a paisley pattern or what have you, but they're all sixes. So you might also find them, for instance, they might have a dice. What I'll do is I'll just use an example of say one of the pizza companies. For instance, what they do. I'm not saying that the pizza companies are harassing people. I'm just giving an example of the sort of things that these internet Masons and Tears are using, and they've got sort of like you know, a dice there with 2 dots and a dice there with 1 dot, and then you think, oh, that's 3 dots, yeah, but don't forget there's 3 squares there as well, so that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you'll find that again and again, and the thing is, the great thing is for us is that the Bible says that these people are brute beasts of instinct. They can't help themselves. They have to do this. They have to show off. It's like a calling card. You know, you've been hit by so-and-so's mob. I've covered that before. But just to reiterate that. So if you see any of this stuff from people that are harassing you on the internet, and you're not sure if they're a Mason or not, you can drop me a line. I'll have a look at their logo. I mean, you know, they've tried to bug me for ages. You know, I don't really care anymore. But you might. And if you do, it's good for you to know whether or not they're a potential Mason, so you can stop preaching to them. Remember, the Bible says, warn them once, warn them twice, then have nothing more to do with them. Don't take your time up with these chronophagers. There's a word for you, like the Corpus Christi chronophage clock. Chronophage means time eater, and that's what they're doing. They're eating up your time, and they're confusing you, and they're making you think that you're on the right track when you're not, and you're being used to perpetrate a myth, to perpetrate a deception, and you don't really want to be helping them. You want to come to the truth, and the truth is Jesus Christ. And remember, when Pontius Pilate stood before Jesus Christ, yes, I said Pontius Pilate stood before Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is God. Pontius Pilate asked a ridiculous question to Jesus. He said to him, what is the truth? Well, that is the biggest example that anyone can give of someone standing there with the truth before them and not recognizing him. And the same applies with all of this other stuff. Jesus has already informed us of all of this in the Bible. We just haven't noticed. And all we need to do is listen to Jesus Christ, and he'll open up our eyes. So don't be deceived. Listen to Jesus, and your eyes will be opened. The end's on its way. Praise Jesus. Hallelujah.